life has ups and downs. However, sometimes the challenges can become too great and we may go down a path that's not good for us. If you or a family member suffer from alcohol or drug misuse, there's an organization in Liverpool which can help you for free: Sanctuary Family Support.
Sanctuary Family Support is a free and confidential service. We're a charitable organisation founded in 1999 to provide support to families originally of substance misusers and people who were affected by that, so it could be friends or any family member.
They are based in Upper Parliament Street in Toxteth area near Lodge Lane and Smithdown Road, but they serve whole of Liverpool. Their service users come from different culture, faith and age group.
Sanctuary was actually set up by four mums. We all had substance misuse within our families, and there was no support for families at that time, especially in the south end of Liverpool. So we got together, and I had been doing a lot of work with Merseyside Drugs Council. I was a volunteer. I'd done a counselling placement there, and we got together and we wanted to set up our charity for families to be supported with the problems that they go through, which are horrendous, by the way. So when Sanctuary first started out, we went to LCVS, who helped us to set up the charitable organisation. They gave us they got some donations from people who unanimous donations basically, and they gave us some funding to start off with. So we set up our office and we moved into the law centre on Princes Road. And from then we got funding from John Moore's Foundation. We'd actually moved then to Myrtle Parade, and we were set up with an organisation called Project 8, so it was Sanctuary and Project 8. We got funding from John Moore's Foundation, and we also got funding through LCVS as well. So they've been special to me. They've always been there for me, always. Right now, we got funding from Big Lottery in 2015, and that was for 3 years. Since then, we did apply again, but unfortunately we weren't successful. So that year, which was 2018 to 19, I had to find funding from here, there and everywhere. So yeah, we did it, we got through it, and then we were told by the lottery that we could apply again, which we did, and we got 5-year funding, which will take us to 2024.
So, I mean, to come to Sanctuary, it's really easy to make a referral. You can either phone up, and what will happen within a week or two, we'll try and get back to you, book your appointment. So it's really easy to get into Sanctuary. And when you are at Sanctuary, what we do, we offer you advice and support, and you would have one-to-one session with a family support worker. And then obviously if we thought that you also needed extra support, we have a counsellor in Sanctuary as well. So you would be working with myself or the other family support worker, and you would also have a counsellor as well. So it's like a little package that you can get when you come into us. And we will, if you have a doctor that you need us to be calling for you because you may be not getting the help that you need, we can do that. So we would phone people, we would advocate for you. We have a lot of social services getting sent to us, so we advocate for that person if there's meetings, and if we know that they're doing well, we're able to say, yes, this person is doing well, and how they're progressing. So we offer all these services, and that is all the time, these services are there. And I think it's very important, the one-to-ones, because instead of what a lot of people think is like group work, but you have your own time with your family support worker. And that's for you to be saying how you're feeling, how you're doing. If you've got concerns, we can give you advice on that as well. A lot of family members come in and they don't know anything about drugs or alcohol, so we're able to educate as well. So if they come in and say they had a son using heroin and they didn't know, anything about it, we can explain to them what it does, what might happen, you know, what signs they can look for. So it's also educational as well for people. Also what we offer every week is therapies. We have Donna who comes in, she does the massage once a week on a Tuesday. We also have the ladies doing exercise, that's on a Tuesday. The ladies come in and you know, it's really good for them because it keeps them active. So it's good to have something to do. And we also have a creative writing course running at the moment, and we try and get, if there's any courses that we can get, and bring people in to do courses just to give them something to do. And it's really important getting people together and for them to take part in different activities. So we find obviously with the mental health, we have a lot of people who come in with mental health problems as well because of the drug problems. So if they can take part in other activities, it's really important. Also in Sanctuary, we work with a different range of people. One of the projects that we have going, we were working with Launchpad, which was veterans, but also we've had veterans actually just come into Sanctuary. We have dealt with a lot over the years. Obviously because a lot of stuff with PTSD and they want to talk about what's going on, and we're here for them. So we offer the service where they can have the one-to-one with us as well. Also have a lot who are either drinking, so we can help them reducing the drinking and things like that, and we can also point them in the right direction because we don't medicate at Sanctuary. So we have like services we can refer people on so they can get medicated with another service, but then they have the one-to-ones with us. And it works for a lot of people. We also do have open days. We had one just before Christmas, which was really successful. We have a lot of people in, and it's just about bringing different organisations that we work with together. So we had all different stores. There was like Transforming Choice was here. There was Systems Advice, and so people can come in and use our service, and also a lot of people who don't use our service can come in and they can look around and see what's going on, because a lot of people, they know our building, they see our name, but they don't know what it is. So it's very good for people to be able to see what we do here. And I think what people don't realise, when people come in with an addiction, so that's one part of what might be going on. But then when you look deeper, we deal with so many different cases, because obviously there could be people who have had historic abuse, there could be rape, we've had victims of PTSD who've been badly battered, domestic violence, veterans. So it comes in, people come in with one problem, but then we look at what the bigger problem is as well, and this is what really helps. So although we deal with the drugs and alcohol part, or if it's a family member, helping them to understand what's going on for their family member or a friend, whoever it is that comes in. Some people come in that they've got a friend and they don't know what's going on. So it doesn't also always have to be a family member, but it tends a lot to be the family members that come in. But we can explain to them what's going on, and then, as I say, a lot of them, if there's been like a rape or a crisis or something, or we have had people that have come in and they've been from another country and they've been taken from that other country, brought here and things like that. We have the cases that people wouldn't think that we would deal with here, but we do. And we signpost them to the right direction, give them a lot of support as much as we can. And then so it works for a lot of different reasons coming here. And say people just think, oh, it's just drugs and alcohol, but it isn't. It goes deeper than that. There's so many different cases that you would not believe that come in and that we deal with.
If service users express an interest in receiving counselling, they're referred on to me by the support workers. Counselling can then take place alongside work with support worker or replace this. As a person-centred counsellor, I do not give advice, nor do I have an agenda for what my client should do in their therapy. I aim to hold a safe space where someone can bring to sessions whatever they feel is important and pay attention to their issues at their own pace. Consideration of our experiences and feelings can allow more self-awareness and understanding of our needs. Tending to how we feel inside can be a path towards healing and enable us to feel empowered in our choices and possibilities for the future.
So the Healing Garden was funded by Carillion actually, which is some years ago. We also got some help from AstraZeneca, and we have people coming in, volunteers who actually look after the garden. The plaque which says Sanctuary Healing Garden, was actually made by one of our service users who came to us with a lot of problems, disappeared, and then turned up again, saying how much he appreciated the help that we'd given him, and made this lovely plaque for our garden. On some nice days, our service users actually go with our counsellor or our family therapist into the garden to chat, to offload the problems, and the environment's nice. It's a nice environment out there.
So although we do all these things, what we don't do at Sanctuary is we don't medicate. So if people come to us expecting to get a script, that won't happen. We just don't do that. Also, we don't supply house, and a lot of people think we're mixed with Sanctuary House, and we're not. Totally different thing altogether. Or like job interviews. Unfortunately, we just don't have the capacity to do things like that. Or filling in forms. So, but we do, because we work hand in hand with other places. We can say to people, right, we'll signpost you to assistance advice. So we can advise them where to go. But sadly, there is only so much we can do. But I think what we do with actually dealing with the people's problems and their addictions, or the families understanding how to cope, because for families it's so really, really difficult to cope with if you've got a family member who's a substance misuser.
Yeah.
So we help with that. So there's a lot we do, but unfortunately there are some things that we just can't do.
Sanctuary's trustee include Madeline Vaz as chairman, and they also have a deputy chair, treasurer and a member. Maddie also works as a volunteer and has been working freely for over 24 years now.
Sanctuary has 4 paid staff. All my staff work part-time, so I've got 2 family therapists, I've got a counsellor, I've got a counsellor who's on placement from Edgehill University, and I've got an administrator, and I've got about 3 or 4 volunteers who come in on a regular basis to help out with different things. One does some cleaning, sometimes they go out and do, like if we've got to do a day in, like yesterday, they went to the gym to advertise Sanctuary. So the ambassadors actually for Sanctuary as well, the ambassadors for us. They go out and show off our leaflets and talk to people about what we do.
I've been coming to the Sanctuary all in about 6 years now. I have 3 children, 3 adult children, and they're all in various stages of addiction. And I knew about the Sanctuary from work that I'd done in health social services throughout the years. And I came because it was suggested to me that I could get support here for me in trying to deal with my family's addiction. The addictions that are most prevalent within my family is cannabis use and quite serious alcohol abuse, and also cocaine use as well. As a mum, it's affected me very badly. My children don't live with me, and they all have families of their own. But they also have children. So I think more being a parent and having children in addiction and them having their own children, I felt more of a sense of responsibility in that I needed to be there for them. But what I had forgotten really, or didn't realise, was that I can't be everything to my family, and trying to be everything had a really negative effect on me health-wise. I suffered depression, anxiety, physical problems as well due to stress. Which is not good, obviously. But I started to come to the Sanctuary, and I have received the most amazing support from support workers and from counsellors, and my family situation hasn't changed, but I have changed and I have been helped so much. But with me being involved with the sanctuary, I was able to pass on information to my children and also my grandchildren. So in actual fact, there's me as the like kind of matriarch of the family. I received such wonderful support and understanding and help. But also my daughter has, and also my two granddaughters have had counselling and support from here, which has made a big difference to them. And I can't thank Maddie and the team here for what they've given me over the years. You know, I don't think it's a place where you can have therapies. You can have therapies. There's all kinds of events that go on throughout the week. I mean, at the moment I'm doing creative writing, which is wonderful, and yoga, which again is wonderful, and that's all about trying to help me to deal with a very, very complex situation within my family, and I think they do an absolutely wonderful service to people who are and the good thing about it, I found personally, it was very, very easy to access, which is wonderful. I would say to anybody who has family, you know, to other mothers, to other family members, if you are affected by the behaviours of someone within your family, or, you know, partner, friend, whatever, I would say that if you come here and you can access the services, you know, I think it would help. It helps enormously, because it has made a huge difference. It's made a huge difference in my life.
So I just so happened to be brought in here by a support worker when I was living in a hostel in the centre of Liverpool. Drugs and alcohol weren't my only problem, but they were essentially my biggest problem because it prevented me from solving everything else. I was a binge drinker at the time, so I wasn't drinking regularly. It was just when I was drinking, it was to great excess. Sometimes I wouldn't sleep for 2 or 3 days at a time. And it was really sad because during the 2 or 3 weeks I wasn't drinking, I'd start getting everything back in place in my life. I'd start making progress, and then all of a sudden that voice would come in my head, and then I'd end up going on a bender somewhere. I had underlying health problems that really caused me to use drugs and alcohol. I had depression, post-traumatic stress. I had just spiralling down to poor mental health for a while. I'd ended up in a hostel because I'd found myself in an abusive relationship, which, you know, it's a different experience for men. I'm not comparing myself to the women you see who've been beaten up, but it was a nightmare that I woke up to every single day. And because we had a child together, it was something I couldn't escape from. And so I had to leave the home, and I was walking the streets at night, and, you know, walking around the streets at night, not knowing where to go or where the next meal was coming from. Did not make drugs and alcohol appealing. And so I was trying to solve these issues, but I had that really bad handicap of drugs and alcohol, which really prevented me from solving anything else. And so I was completely out of my depth. I didn't know where to start. I didn't accept help from people because when I was sober, I was doing okay. I had a plan for the future, but it all just broke down. And someone brought me in here. And I've been to Talk Liverpool before, who like a counselling service, but it's just so, how can I describe it? It's just too academic. You were just a client, and they had these set of skills that they used on you, and they done CBT, and, you know, it just didn't really work for me. I needed a friend really, and that's really what I found here. Because a lot of people judge people when they're on drugs and alcohol. It's easy to, because you just see them and you just know if they'd only stop using drugs and alcohol, that would solve most of their issues. But these guys know that below the problem is a human being who's struggling. And so I came in and I had a rant of like, whoa, this is all what's going on in my life. And they just made a few notes and they said, right, okay, so you're in debt. So you're trying to solve your drug problem by yourself. It's been a year now and you haven't managed to do it, so I think you need help. And slowly they put some things into place and I went to rehab. Best decision that I made in my life. And then when I got out, I described my recovery as a trial by fire, because as soon as I got out of rehab, some of the most difficult problems just came to me. My brother had a full mental health breakdown. He got sectioned in the end, but for about 4 to 6 months, it was just me looking after him. So I was going from my house, which was full of other recovering people, so it wasn't a very nice place to live anyway, to that problem. And I told my ex-partner, enough's enough. I'm not doing this anymore. I need to look after my own health, and that means I can't be with you. And so she said, well, if you're not being with me, you won't see your son. And so I had these 3 major problems going on while I was trying to address my own issues. And each week I'd find myself in real distress, and then I'd come in and I'd see my counsellor. And it was just so helpful. I reckon that was the crux of me being able to recover, because just without their help or support or someone to talk to about what was going on, even though a lot of the time they don't give you advice, they just say what's going on, and that was so helpful to have someone there to speak to. And I got myself back to university, and I got myself out of debt, and I slowly but surely started seeing my son. She realised maybe she needs help, and I started seeing him about 3 days a week. And things started going well, and I'm in a good place now. But it wasn't the end of my troubles. I still had to go through family court, and that was one of the most difficult periods of my life. And that really, all the progress that I'd made, started falling backwards again. I didn't relapse, fortunately, but my mental health started taking a hit. My ex-partner left Liverpool with my son, and for 2 years I didn't know where he lived. And so, I felt I didn't want to outstay my welcome here, so I'd taken a step back while I dealt with the court. And then they invited me back for a course, Introduction to Counselling. And I've done a couple of courses here, which has been really great. And again, it makes you feel like you're part of the community, like you have sort of support network here. And when we were going through it, I'd actually got some specific help, because for someone who's been the victim of domestic abuse, which was hard to find for a man, because as soon as you say, I was a victim, they say, you were the perpetrator. And I actually called an organisation once, and they asked for my ex-partner's number. They said, we want to help her. It was just bizarre. It put me off. But I went in, and this counsellor was really, she had the same feeling, and it done me more harm than good. And when we were going through the counselling course of what it is to be a counsellor, I realised the woman that I went to see had broken all those codes. And I just called up one day and said, oh, well, you need help. I need some help. And they said, fine, please, you can start doing counselling here again. And, even though family court was over, I thought, once I've got my access, that'll be it. It'll be a weight off my mind and I'll feel better. But because it was such an unpleasant experience, it took me a couple of months to really recover to where I was. And so I've just been coming in ever since, and sometimes I'm coming in for a massage and I get to speak to the members of staff, which is nice to just see some people who can talk to. Sometimes I come into counselling. I don't need it as regularly anymore, but again, it's still, really helpful, because I do have still some issues that I'm trying to address. And I feel like, I'm where I'm supposed to be now in life. I've got a plan for the future. it's all going smoothly. I've got my own place now, I've got my own flat, as I've talked about. I'm in this rare point of stability, and I've got a lot to thank to Sanctuary for that, because they've been in the background coaching me and helping me ever since. You know, I'm out of debt. See my son regularly, he's down right now. And just 18 months and I'll have a degree. What are you?
Firstly, I just want to shake your hand.
Oh, thank you very much.
Honestly, it's incredible. Just for anyone listening, what would you advise about them coming to Sanctuary? What advice would you have for them? So,
I would say if you want to be treated like a person and you want to get some help that actually works for you, and you don't want to be told what to do, you want to be spoken to and find something that works, come here. Because the kind people, they treat you like a human being, not like a client, not like a patient. They're friends here, and you never know, there might be something that you can help yourself with. But it's good to just sit down with someone who's caring and discuss your options. You know, this is not a specific place, although it's, you know, it's mostly for people who've had issues with drugs and alcohol, or people who are around people with drugs and alcohol. They've still got all manner of resources available. If they can't help you, which I'm 99% sure they can, they'll point you in the right direction.
Okay, my story, basically, cut a long story short, I started with alcohol when I was young, drinking on the streets with my mates and stuff like that, and I knew that I had a problem with substances. As I got older, I got diagnosed with bipolar and introduced to cocaine when I was 22 years old, and I used it to self-medicate. I was selling it. I got involved in the drugs world, drugs culture, and my using progressed from 22 years old until I had a near-death experience when I was 39 years old, and I was always had a thing that I was going to die when I was 40. But when I got to 39, I'd moved from cocaine to crack cocaine, and that took me to my absolute knees. Like I say, with the bipolar, they'd use different medications with me that didn't agree with me. So basically, the self-medication just continued, but my tolerance got more and more and more. In 2015, I went into a rehab in Liverpool, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I just tried to learn as much as I can. I gave up my home, and my mum had the kids whilst I went in, so basically I had to sit that rehab out, so I had nowhere else to go. And basically my sponsor, who I was introduced to, she told me to come here. She said it was one of the most amazing places, and they've helped me so much with my recovery, my housing, trips out for my kids to like Chester Zoo, the Welsh Mountain Zoo, the pantomime. I've had holistic therapies, massages, reflexology and stuff like that. So basically I got 2 years, 10 months clean, and I relapsed. But I came here, I knew I was going to relapse. I had shit coming from every angle basically, and they were amazing. I said, you need to log this, and basically I've had social services involved with kids and stuff before, so I needed everything on the ball. That relapse from thinking I could have one bit of cocaine took me to hell and back. My using progressed even more. Tried to support me to the best I could here, but I just got worse and worse and worse. It took me 2 years, 7 months to get clean again, and I bumped into Maddie because I'd heard from everyone, because obviously the shame that I felt, and she said, you look really well. I'd got 6 months clean and I'd done it from everything I'd learned in the rehab. People would tell me, go back to rehab, and I was like, no, I'll do this myself. And Maddie said, would I like to come and do some voluntary work? And I've been here for 2.5 years nearly now, and I'm 2 years, 7 months clean, and that's with the support of everyone in this place. It's just so amazing. The love, the support, the laughing we do, yeah, and basically that's my story.
Is there anything as society that we can do to help people who are struggling?
I would say to listen and not judge, which happens here. Our way of working with recovery and sanctuary is not based on the 12 steps. A lot of people, use the 12 steps of recovery, but we work in a way where, a lot of people in the recovery agencies and that, as you well know, they basically say, okay, you've got to stop and you can never use again. And that's not really possible for people who are in the depth of addiction that I was in. I had to wean down, and they helped me wean down in here and stuff like that. So it's about not judging, and 3 things I try and work with each day. Even when I'm having a good day, I try not to judge myself and others too harshly. I try not to have too high expectations of myself and others, and I try not to compare myself to others. And that's what I try and suggest to people coming in here, because us addicts, we're our worst enemy. We send ourselves crazy with our heads. So yeah, just listening and being there.
Fantastic, thank you very much for that. Just one last thing. What would you advise? What would you recommend for people who are watching this, who are struggling, or their family member or friend might be struggling? What message would you have for them?
To not keep it a secret. The more you keep it a secret, the more you use and will increase. Tolerance will get higher. The more guilt and shame you have, you will use more. So just try and share it, not with just anybody, but with the people in sanctuary or the people you can trust in your family and stuff like that, and just reach out for help.
I'd just like to speak to family members now and say, if your son, daughter, partner, whoever it is in the family's got a problem with alcohol or drugs, please don't suffer in silence. Come along to us, ring us, we'll make an appointment for you. Come to us, we'll have you laughing instead of crying. I'm sure about that. It happens all the time here. Please stay safe.
You can call them on their landline 0151 735 0747.
Good afternoon, Sanctuary Family Support. How can I help?
Hope I'm in the right place. You can refer yourself or get referred by health professionals or organisations. The phone line is open from Monday to Friday and they're closed on the weekend. Office opening times can vary, so please ring them to find out opening hours. However, you can leave a message on the answer phone 24/7 and the staff will get back to you. You can also attend their office on 322 to 326 Upper Parliament Street in Toxteth area and make an appointment. For more information, visit their website www.sanctuaryfs.com.
When someone first comes to Sanctuary, what we do is like an introduction. So when they come in, we make sure, offer them a cup of tea if they want one. We try and make people feel as homely as they can when they walk through our doors, because I think that's so important, the first impression. And we will always go and greet the person when they come in, and it's more of a natural thing as well. Everyone who works in Sanctuary, it just naturally happens. It's not put on, we're just a different way of working, because we really care about the people. And for us, it's not just a job, it's a passion as well. So I think people feel that as soon as they walk through the doors, everyone's really friendly. And we know when people come to us, the first time they walk through that door, they're at the lowest they've ever been in their life, probably. And if it's a family member, they've got nowhere to turn. They've probably been going on with whatever's happening for a couple of years sometimes before they've thought, I just don't know where to turn anymore. So we understand that when they come through that doors, they're at the lowest part of their life, probably. And we get the person, and then we will take them into one of our rooms and we'll make sure they're okay. Some people, right away can start crying, and we understand that that's fine. And we just let them have the time, and then we will just, say, okay, where do you want to start? And it's about their story, it's not about ours, because for a lot of people, they just want someone to hear their story, because for so long it hasn't been heard, or people might have, looked at them or judged them, or there's so many different reasons. And, you know, it starts from there. And, you know, we say to them, you know, thank you for coming in, because this is the first step. And, you know, we reassure them that we will help them as much as we can. And I think people really appreciate that.
Recovery is not black and white. Everyone is on a different path. Some need more help than others, but everyone is treated individually and the service is tailored to your needs. Sanctuary Family Supports are well qualified and have won multiple prestigious awards regularly in recognition of their innovative, individual-based approach to therapy and healing that is hard to find elsewhere. In 2011, Merseyside Police awarded Sanctuary Community Safety Award. 2 years later, in 2013, Sanctuary was awarded the Community Foundation's Health and Wellbeing Award. The following year, in 2014, Madeline herself was awarded the Caring Award at the Woman of the Year Awards. In 2017, Maddie was awarded the High Sheriff of Merseyside Award for great and valuable services to the community, and also the Positive Achievement Award for Health and Wellbeing Campaigner from Merseycare. In 2016, Madeline was invited to Radio Merseyside's Upfront programme to speak about Sanctuary Family Support. 6 years later, in 2022, Liverpool Echo newspaper wrote a glowing article on her and the organisation. Over the years, other newspaper articles have appeared featuring Sanctuary. Madeline also campaigned to Westminster while working for kinship carers so they could be acknowledged. Her effort was supported by veteran politician Frank Field and MP Stephen Twigg. Around 2010-2011, Sanctuary was shown on BBC's The One Show. The crew came and filmed Sanctuary and kinship carers. Health insurer Medicash gave donation after watching the programme. You can donate money by giving cash or check and going to the website and making an online payment. You can also help other ways such as volunteering, cleaning and maintaining their premise and healing garden, funding and doing events to raise money and awareness.
My vision going forward for Sanctuary would be to work maybe with a big organisation that could provide funding for us, and I'd look to expand my staff, maybe get more family therapists and maybe another counsellor. We also have delivered training sometimes, so we've delivered an introduction to counselling course on 2 occasions, and we deliver workshops as well. So that would be something that would be good, get the funding for that. And also we got funding to deliver counselling in 4 schools, so I'd like to work with children as well in the future.
Sanctuary Family Support is a little gem in Liverpool with a big impact. It feels for people who are suffering and crying, but you don't have to suffer in silence. There's help available. And together, you can create a pathway to recovery and a better way of life for you and your family.